Welcome back to the Own It Show. We are here today to help you own it and to help you start your financial journey and own it along the way with special guest Shaunda Moir. And I'm so grateful for you to be here. Shaunda is a financial broker helping middle-class Canadians and small business owners become financially empowered. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Shaunda. So grateful to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather. I'm so glad to be here. Yeah, it's just one of those things that I love to chat about, and I'm stoked to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my honor. And Shauna and I go way back. We studied together at Thinking into Results, started at the end of 2017, and have stayed connected ever since. So absolutely love it. We were accountability buddies. We ran masterminds. We did so much together. I still remember getting on like 5 a.m. calls, study calls, and uh, or it would have been like 4 a.m. Shaunda's time, and she was running up and down the stairs and for like getting
Oh
the movement
yeah.
in. I still remember that call.
Oh
You're
my, I forgot about that. That's so true. Oh my gosh, yes.
You've
Yeah.
always been such an incredible person since the day I met you. You're authentic, you're integral, you're forward thinking, you're world-class leader. So thank you so much for continuing to advance your education for yourself, for your family, for your future, and also then to turn around and help others do the same. So I'm super pumped for your tips today. But before we get in, let's hear a little bit about you and your journey. Please share.
Yeah. Oh gosh, like you said, it's been a journey, as we all have these journeys and going in and out of so many different things. But yeah, I am a mom. That's my biggest role, I would say. A mom of a preteen. I'm a spouse to my partner, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I absolutely love just following my passions, and at the core of it, just really doing what I can to help other people. That's always been really the core of everything that I do. So yeah, so I grew up in a small town with my mom, who worked in a factory. My dad was a machinist, and we grew up having, what we needed. There wasn't a lot of extra, but naturally, that kind of followed me through life. And I got into mindset coaching, apart from doing like my day job. I've always had a day job. But I got into mindset coaching. I've done breath work. I've done somatic coaching. And it's just been like everything that has led me to like right here now. And yeah, like I said, I grew up really not having too much, and just that mindset naturally followed into adulthood. So um yeah, I found myself doing my best, of course, but I found myself getting really heavily into credit card debt, which I think so many Canadians can really relate to. And I was just looking for a solution. Like I I wasn't looking for a solution, but like I wish I had a solution. I just didn't know that there was solutions out there. And I got into a conversation with one of my friends who was also heavily in debt, and she started sharing with me um, what she was learning. And it just really perked my ears up. And obviously, I was skeptical at first because we're not taught about money in school. And um, I think on purpose. And yeah, so I just started learning about the financial industry and what our options were. I desperately needed to get out of debt. She was telling me ways of sharing generational wealth with my kid. And I was like, how is that even an option? But it is, it is. And as skeptical as I was, I remain open minded. And the more I learned, the more I was just like, people need to know this information. Like, and so 3 months later, I ended up getting my financial broker's license, and here I am. It's like all over the place, but um, yeah, getting to this point is really exciting.
And I'm so excited that you're doing this because you're right, it's not taught in school. And unless you go and educate yourself, you really have no financial education,
Yeah.
none.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our society is linked to consumerism and living on debt and borrowed money,
Exactly.
not taught to build generational wealth. And being able to pass on generational wealth is a concept most people have probably never even considered because, like you said, never knew it was even an option. Might be a concept they've
Totally.
never even heard of. And my grandfather always said, "You'll never get rich from your wages," and he was a business owner, and so originally, I thought he meant, like, you from a job, you'll never get rich, you need to own your own business, but he even meant from what he paid himself from his business. He invested heavily and did that for years, and we've talked about it that my grandmother's in, 92, and he retired at 50, and he'd be closer to 100 now, and they've lived off their investments and well for over 50 years. Wow, that's a long time. And that's the magic that is available to you when we have financial education. And he made
Yeah.
sure he was very financial literate because they came here from Austria with nothing and
Yeah.
built it up from there. And he promised to never be in that position again and was able to do it through having his money make money for him. And that
Hmm.
requires first education and support. We can't do it on our own. And this is how we get started. You
Yeah.
ask for help. You learn things you didn't know, you didn't even know. And
Yeah.
then you begin to pay yourself first by putting money aside that is going to grow for you. And we're going to talk about all this today. And so
Hmm.
let's dive into it. Tips to help you take ownership of your finances. So, tip number one is to increase your financial literacy and learn strategies to increase your net worth. And being able to start with setting a financial independence number is a great way. And most people focus on debt instead of net worth. And when we can start to have a mindset shift of how can I build my net worth and increase my financial literacy, things can change. So tell us more about this, Shaunda.
Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, increasing your financial literacy is the number one thing, because we don't know what we don't know. And, most people, when it comes to learning about your finances, you go to two places. You go to the bank and you go to your parents. And chances are your parents to the bank. And the bank doesn't always have your best interest at heart. Not only do they not have your best interest at heart, they can only offer what they offer. And so, yeah, just getting educated on what other options are out there is huge. And that is the number one thing that we focus on at my brokerage is really just the education piece and empowering Canadians with what their options are. So, you know, I can tell you all the things to do, but if it doesn't pertain to your life, it's not going to work for you. So, the first thing that we do is meet with people and just go over your your financial house. Like we really just take a bird's eye view of what your where you are and then where you want to go. And we take into consideration where you are now, where you are in 10 years, where you are in 40 years. People may not have kids now, but they may have kids in 10 years and then as they move out of the house. So we take all of that into consideration and um yeah, just really understanding your financial independence number. And like you said with your grandfather, it's that number that you use to live off of your earnings. So we're not depleting that. So say you need $1 million at, come retirement. We're not going to use that $1 million up. We're going to use the interest earned off of that $1 million. So it's never depleted. And there's that cycle of having your money work for you and then even passing on that generational wealth to your family. Um, yeah, and it really just starts with education.
Absolutely. And so just giving people an idea of like what is a financial independence number? It's a number that they would know how much they need to have saved so they could live off the investments for so
Yeah.
many years. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. It's taking into account where you want to go and also where you are with your finances. And so that looks really different for everybody based on your wants and your needs and your obligations as well. And yeah, it's that base number that we work off and then we reverse engineer to get you to that.
Yeah, and to figure out, okay, well, how much can I start putting away now? How much would I like to be doing in a year so that I could reach that financial independence number where I'm living off that interest? And
Exactly.
yeah, and instead of thinking I have to work till the day I die, you actually can retire at a decent age and still have the same quality of life. Because you are the one that taught me that. You said 91% of Canadians are going to retire.
Retire below the poverty line, which is just, it's so sad. It's so sad that that is the state of where this country is, and it doesn't have to be like that. There are things that we can do now, small incremental things that can make such a huge impact on our retirement. And that's the thing, like people know that they need to retire, and but we don't think about what that actually looks like. At least I didn't anyways. I considered, I'm like, you know, what am I going to do in my retirement? But you just keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And you know, the best time to save for your retirement was probably 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. And you know, whether you're 10 years away from retirement or 4 years away from retirement, the best thing to do is just really get started and understand what you can do. And we're not talking about um, going out of what you can afford now. Like, we really help people work with exactly what they have. So it doesn't feel, so it's attainable, right? So it's manageable. So it's, or I should say sustainable. Like, we want people to be able to keep with it. And because the thing is, it's like when we're in a crunch, the first thing that goes is putting money away for our savings. Like, when you need money now. And we don't want people to push their retirement years away for emergencies that happen now. We want to take into account all of it so that, you know, whatever comes up in life, you're able to handle it.
Yeah, and when I read the book Profit First, it really had my mentality shift where most of us take our revenue, spend majority of it on expenses, and what's left is what we get to live on. And this is a different way, guys. It's teaching you to literally pay yourself first. So from the revenue that you have, you're taking a certain amount of money and you're putting it away for yourself and for your future. And then also figuring out like what is the reasonable expenses for you to be able to live off, where you can also be paying yourself first
Mhm.
versus paying yourself what you have left over. Because
Yeah,
if we quote unquote try to save that way, there's no saving that happens because there will always
yeah,
be another expense.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so paying yourself first, and that all starts with financial education. So, like, how,
Yeah.
what institute, what's going to pay me the best? And Sean has done her research and has found what she's doing with her brokerage is in the best and highest interest for herself over the other ones. And so, if you're looking for more of that financial education to see if it's an opportunity for you for investing or even as a source of income to own your own brokerage, then that's definitely, you'll want to reach out to her because
Mhm.
not only is it an opportunity to increase your knowledge, it's also an income opportunity if you want it. And we're all about creating multiple streams of income.
Yeah, it's so true because like when I was approached with this opportunity, I was like, I can't, like, who am I to share like financial education with somebody? Like, I was like over 30 grand in debt. I was living paycheck to paycheck. Like, I was in no position to help anybody with their finances. But what I learned is not only did I get a world-class education in as little as 3 months, but people are looking for people who are relatable. You go to the bank, they're not taught to relate to people. And so you get this like more robotic transaction with somebody. But what I found was for myself, I've always wanted to help people, and the brokerage and the mentorship programs that I've aligned myself with, our main focus is people and educating people, and especially middle class Canadians, and small business owners. They're really the backbone of this country. And connecting with somebody who actually cares and like takes into account everything. um I just what I find working with people, it gives people such a sense of hope and relief to just not only see what solutions are working for them, but to just even understand more about finances and money, and what their options are. So
Yeah, and
that
what
was a
their
huge
options
thing for
are.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, because most people have no idea, right? Outside of
Yeah.
just going to the bank and going, "What can I do? Help me."
Yeah, I remember I was so angry almost when I came across this information. It was like a sense of hope and relief, but of course I was skeptical. But I also remember being a little angry because it's like, why don't people know this information? So yeah,
Society is a well-meaning society, and it doesn't always set us up for success, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah,
All right,
for
let's
sure.
dive into tip number two. So, one of my favorite sayings, every dollar needs a duty or a job. So, managing
Hmm.
money the positive way and budgeting without that scarcity mindset. And I just wanted to add, when we first started like all into the manifesting, you would be like, oh, budgeting is a poverty mindset, right? Like money will always come to me. And that's a really sure way to screw yourself. And so let's talk about it and doing it
Yeah,
without the scarcity mindset and in a positive way that sets you up for success.
yeah. I So after I had gotten my education, and the best thing that I did was actually put myself through what I was learning. So I did the same plan that I do with my clients, and I got myself set up. And everybody's plan looks a little bit different. It's all, we use the same, there's multiple strategies that we use, but the one that I really needed to take a look at for myself was budgeting, because I didn't have a lot of money to work with. So in order to find money to be able to invest in myself, I had to really, really take a look at what was coming in and what was going out.
Mhm.
And and the it was such a huge mindset shift for me. And I think you always talk about a book at the end that I'd recommend, but I have to drop it now
Yeah.
because it was a book that really changed my perspective on budgeting, and even some of the strategies that I'm talking about. And it's called The Latte Factor. I should have written down who it was by. But you can find it on Spotify, obviously anywhere you get your books, but The Latte Factor. And it really, yeah, it just really pointed out where your money is going. And it's, again, it's not a scarcity thing. Like, if you want to buy your coffee, if you want to buy that fancy drink, buy it, but just understand the impacts of where this can all go, right? And yeah, I just really understood that every dollar has a job to do. Let your money work for you. Tell your money where to go. And the best thing, there you go. Yeah, David Bach. Like, the best thing I did was I got myself a budgeting book, and I actually have a budget, if like a budget template, if anyone's interested, I can share that with you, Heather. Um, but I just started writing down all of my expenses, like tracking every single thing, whether it was like 60 cents for parking or my rent. Like, I know where every dollar is going. And at the end of the month, it's just really eye-opening to understand, okay, this is how much you've spent on this is how much you've spent on this, and just taking into account where everything is going. And it just makes such a big impact. And I have to say, when I first started, it took me about an hour to really organize myself, figure out where, how to track everything. It took a little while, but I have to say, within a couple months, it was taking minutes a day. And those few minutes a day has literally saved me thousands of dollars,
I love
which is crazy. And it's not to say that my income is, you know, not to say that I've had a huge influx in my income, but by being aware of where my money is going, and like you said, paying yourself first and then working around everything else, it's made it's made such a difference in my life. And again, it's not a scarcity thing. And I can say that, but it's such a mindset shift to understand that budgeting is actually really empowering. It's getting your money to work for you and you being in control of your money and where it's going, and yeah, and how it's working for you. It's I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about setting that budget, for many of us, and Bob Proctor was one of the ones who always said it, right? Whether you're making 100,000 or a million, unless you build the habits, you're
Yes.
still going to be broke at the $1 million mark.
Yep.
And there were lots of financial mistakes I made at the six-figure mark. And I'm just so grateful. I always, teach to find the gratitude in something. And I'm like, well, aren't you glad you did it now and not at like a multi seven figure? Because that would have been
Mhm.
really painful. And I know many people do. So be okay with the mistakes that happen, forgive yourself, understand many people do. And it's just new habits that you need to learn, and that smart way and positive way of budgeting and knowing where your money is going. And so instead of it going to consumerism, it's going to ourself, and knowing that every dollar that comes in, before you just go mindlessly spend, you're actually giving it a duty. This one goes to this investment account. This goes for expenses. This is for what have you. And so this is what I have left for fun and what have you for the month. And just being able to become friends with it, so that you
Yeah.
are, as the revenue increases, you know what also is increasing? Instead of just spending, paying yourself first. And
Yeah.
that's how we get wealthy.
Yeah. And I want to add to, when you're starting out doing this, like, give yourself some grace, because, like you were saying, it's like, you know where all of your money is going. And then at the end, it's like, okay, this is how much you have to play with, right? But it's like, you don't always play at the end of the month, right? Like, you want to play, sometimes at the beginning of the month. And so when you're starting out, it's like you're not really sure where how much money you have to work with, right? So, you take into account your income, you take into account what you need to spend, like your rent, your hydro, all of that stuff. So you have an idea, and then just give yourself some grace. Have an idea. And because what I found is the first 3 months, uh, I would say especially the first 3 months, it's like I was still going over budget, like and because it was just spending habits, it was there's just some time that you need to get used to this new way of being. So just give yourself some grace, but know that you have a plan in place. Know that you're working towards something. Um, because some people can get so caught up on budgets, and then it's like, oh, my money's out now. Like, now I'm screwed. What do I do? Like, and it's really easy to tailspin when it comes to money. A lot of us have really bad money stories. Um, it's like, oh, here I am again. I went over budget again, or I don't have enough, and da 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 da. It's like we can run all of these stories. But yeah, it's really just getting in a mindset of like, okay, this is where I'm going. This is the template I need to get there, and know that it gets to shift. It gets to change. You are in control of your money. So just a little caveat that I wanted to add on, because it's gonna look a little messy at first, and it might even be um uh, what's the word? It's going to be hard at first, really, because you're changing habits, and
Mhm.
changing habits are not easy. Um, and so just really recognizing that, you have a path to go on. Um, yeah, it's huge. Give yourself some grace when it comes to any of this.
Yeah, changing any habit requires grace. And my clients and
Yeah.
I talked about it this week. Like, you fell off the bandwagon one night, it doesn't mean the game over. You get back
Yeah.
on tomorrow and you give yourself grace. We forgive
Yeah.
ourselves. We know everything's a part of the journey. And then you just got to get back on the horse. It's the person who never gets back on the horse that never wins, right? So they say success is falling down 9 times and getting up 10. So give yourself
Hmm.
some grace. It is, as we said, starting that financial journey.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
So
it's,
let's,
and like you said, it's a journey. It never ends. Like you're going to be doing this until, the day you die. Like you have to manage your money um the whole way. And so if you're going to get in a tailspin when you're just starting out, it's going to be a really rough go. So,
yeah, so enjoy that journey. Make it a little
make
bit
a
of
game.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have fun with it. Like, yeah, play with it a little bit.
I love it. Gotta
Yeah.
add fun, or otherwise we're not going to do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us about infinite banking and learning to be your
Mm.
own bank and learning to work with compound interest so your money can make you money.
Yeah. So infinite banking, it's one of those terms that I've seen so much on the internet recently. And it's a concept of really just being your own bank. So basically it's a strategy that helps you grow and protect your money. And depending on, what you use and how you use it. So people generally use this strategy for three reasons. So we can all agree that we probably pay enough taxes.
Mm.
Agree?
I saw a reel. Oh, American was saying like why you wouldn't move to Canada or Ontario, and it was saying when you hit this certain income bracket, like 54% of your income is tax, is you
Yeah.
paying in tax.
Yep.
And so this is why that financial education, to be able to manage your money and put it in places that you're not being taxed more than 50% of it is super important. So sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, because here's the thing. So you get taxed in four ways. So we get taxed when we make money. We get taxed when we access our money. So say you have an RSP or an RESP, when you access those types of money, it's taxed at 100%. So so you're also taxed when you pass away as well. And
Blows my mind.
yeah, and so this strategy, it really helps mitigate what you pay for taxes. Um, Secondly, it allows you to grow in a tax sheltered environment, and it's a way that you can actually access your money tax free, and you can also grow it tax free as well too. And you don't have to qualify for it. You don't have to go ask if you can borrow it. Um, Keeping in mind that this strategy is a long-term strategy. So it's not like, oh, you have a bunch of money that you can just work with right away. Like it's a strategy that is like you're playing the long game here. Um, but yeah, so you don't have to qualify for it. You can guarantee the ability to borrow. And you're also in control of the repayment process too, which is really great. And it doesn't affect your credit score. So, and it's another really great way to pass on generational wealth to your family. So, um, yeah, I know I'm being a little cryptic here, but that's not my intention. But my intention is to just help people understand that this strategy can work for many, many people, and it includes some education and understanding um, where you are in your financial journey. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, that more and more people are using, and it's what the rich and wealthy use. But you know, it's it's not, many people think that it's not available to the middle class Canadians. But it is, and it's really important for us to understand that and to learn about it.
Yeah, and we don't know what we don't know. And so we don't even, most of us don't even know what the options are. And the only way you're going to know is if you get out there, ask questions, and be vulnerable to take a look at your personal books and then learn what your options are, right? We can only
Hmm.
create the future when we first identify where we are so we can fill
Hmm.
the gaps. And setting up a meeting with Shaunda is going to be incredible for you to be able to do just that. Identify current state, identify the future state, figure out what the gaps are, and figure out what your best options are so that you can have infinite banking, you can have compound interest, and you can learn how to have your money work for you so you can be your own bank and pass on generational wealth. So
Hmm.
I'm sure everybody would love to build their net worth and pass on generational wealth instead of living by default of the conditioning of consumerism and living off debt.
Yeah.
So let's create
You
that
were,
financial freedom.
yeah. So you were mentioning about compound interest too. It's like we know what compound interest is when it comes to, I was familiar with compound interest when it came to my credit card debt because I was like, yeah, my interest, it's like what, 20% interest? It's like I was paying so much. Like such a huge amount of my paycheck was going towards my
Mm,
debt on my credit card, but none of it was actually going towards the principal. So it felt like it was this never ending cycle of compound interest working negatively for me. But when you can start to understand the effects of compound interest working positively for you, um, it changes everything. And again, that it goes back to really understanding how the financial system works, because I started to understand how the banks use compound interest, and they're using our money to grow their business, to grow their wealth, because the banking industry is a business, right? And so once I saw how much money the banks were making off of my own money, we're getting rid of the middleman here, and we're getting the compound interest to work for us. So um yeah, when I learned that again, it was like the heck, and I was angry a little bit, but it's like, okay, like this needs to work for me,
yeah.
you know?
Work for you instead of the bank investing your money.
Yeah.
When you put it in there, everyone, I think most people know this now, right? Like when you say you have $1 million in the bank and you wanted to go withdraw it, they don't have it there for you right now. They are actually investing it and earning money and compound interest off your money that they've used to invest. And so, what if Shaunda could help you to set that up so you could earn that compound interest and remove that middleman? This is the beauty of becoming your own bank. So you have an option for them to book a call with you. Tell us a little bit more about what they'll learn on that call.
Yeah, yeah, booking a call with me. What I love most about what I do is it's no cost to my clients. Everything I do is at zero cost. And yeah, we really just go through the education. First piece is always education. It's always comes back to education, understanding what your options are. And from there, you can decide where you want to go. If you'll learn quite a bit on that call, so you can really decide what you want to do, whether it's working with me to help figuring out your fin number and, us setting up a plan, or just getting an education and understanding what what your options are. Um, because that was a huge thing for me, was passing on this information to my son. I didn't want my son to grow up like I did, with not understanding how this works. So you're going to walk away from this call with a greater understanding of how the financial industry works. And like I said, there's also an income opportunity as well too, to get your license like I did. We have an incredible mentorship program, um, where we have people holding like I have people I call on all the time to for guidance, for support, and just it's an incredible community of people who really want to help um, middle class Canadians and small business owners and to just win at this money game. So there's many avenues we can take, but the main point is really just getting educated and understanding where it is that you want to go. So
I love that.
yeah.
Let's help you win at the money game. And if you don't know
Yeah.
the rules of the game, you can't play. And so Sean is going to help you learn the rules of the game. And so that link is going to be dropped in the chat for you or in the description. So make sure you book that call with Shaunda. If it's not for you, that's okay. You'll leave with more information of how to play in the money game. So thank you, Shaunda,
Yeah.
so much for being on
Mm,
the show today. We're so glad to have you. Is there
thank
anything else you
you.
wanted to add?
Thanks, Heather. No, I just really appreciate it. And thank you for having me. And I love what you're doing with this podcast and just really empowering people in so many different ways to, just to reach their goals. And like it takes, there's so many areas that we can always improve on. And sometimes we have our blinders on to one area and we're so focused on doing and manifesting, and then sometimes we need to dial things back and like really look at things that are practical and um yeah, just making those small steps. So thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Money is one of those things that is taboo to talk about, which is probably why so many of us are not in the place that we want to be when it comes to money. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's my honor. If I can help you guys be empowered on your financial journey, it is absolutely my pleasure. Thank you, Shaunda, for all your great tips today. So, guys, go ahead, book that call with her and reach out to her, and let's all go own our financial literacy and build wealth instead of building debt. And instead, we are going to actually build generational wealth that we can leave a positive impact and build a wall of financial freedom around ourselves and our families for generations to come. You just got to learn the rules of the game. So, thank you again, Shaunda, so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Heather. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And remember, everybody, stay happy, healthy, wealthy, expect magic and miracles. And what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.